So I have a question for information. I'm hungry for some information. So Andrew, and forgive me, I don't remember his name, from Liechtenstein.
Monty.
Thank you, Monty. My name is Sarah. I'm very curious to know what you're seeing on the ledger and what you're seeing in your research about art genres that are coming up. And I don't mean the cost of them or the value of them. I mean, what's happening? Who's making what? Where do you see growth in exciting, innovative artists around the world? And maybe in your research on tokenization, you can talk about that. But if there's anything on the ledger that you could hint to, I think we'd find that really exciting. Thank you.
So basically what you're asking is a very important point, because it goes down to why do we do all this? Like, why does tokenization make sense? And there are three key reasons. First is accessibility. It gives access to artists around the world, somebody from Japan, from China, who has not been exposed to a global audience. And for us, as art lovers, we could be participating in this artwork very easily on the blockchain. Second is it creates a liquid market. So things which had been illiquid in the past, just being standing in a museum, could become liquid. So like what WISe.ART is doing now is revolutionary, because it gives power into the hands in terms of creating a liquid market. And last but not least, it creates transparency. Price transparency, it creates a kind of an opportunity for new revenue streams for artists. And that's why tokenization is enabling all these three things all together. And it doesn't matter if it's on Hedera or on any other blockchain, but it's really a global phenomenon.
Yeah, I'm going to give a lot less of an intelligent answer. While I will agree, I think WiseKey is a superior platform for high-end art, to be perfectly frank. If you have an estate, a legacy, museum, I think it's fantastic for that. But what I see with the projects that come are a lot of electronically generated art by youngsters, and art that's associated with gaming. So it's actually pretty interesting. The level of adoption seems to be accelerated as the age demographic goes down. But a lot of these tokenized items aren't necessarily of significant value. They are effectively tokenized to be ancillary to gaming ecosystems, or kids and teenagers doing it for fun. So you have to weigh the total value locked proposition of the higher end platforms against the youngsters that are innovators just making stuff up and posting it online on a ledger.
Andrew's right, because we've actually got artists that go from, I mean, I have Maoris from New Zealand, I've got Aboriginal art, I've got French people, I've got animation, we've got all sorts, and we've got university students from the University of Manchester, we've got a young lady from the United Arab Emirates, so it really opens the door. And another thing which no one's talked about, I suppose, is royalties, which is a totally novelty thing in the art world. Before, an artist would sell his piece if he was lucky enough to sell it overseas, well done, through the art fairs and whatever. But then whoever the collector is sold his work again. That was it for the artist. And often the value goes up, but the actual artist doesn't benefit from that. And I think with the NFT and the blockchain, this can change. There's been difficulties, we know, like in the various blockchains, it doesn't always happen as transparently as it should, or as smoothly as it should, but it is something. Does anybody have any other questions? Don't be shy. There you go.
My question is more like a philosophical question. So when talking about art, it has functions, right, to heal people's mind or make people sad even, which is also healing in a way. I wonder, any of you would share what is digital art doing to humanity? Is it doing more or less or the same? Yeah, please.
I'll give the floor to Cynthia, but definitely more. I've got an
Thank you.
opinion too.
Yeah, I bet you.
got
I
a
bet you
mic.
do have an opinion. Yeah, I mean, I'd say like when I've curated the digital art for my book, I'm really looking at culture, positive, negatives, and the idea about the artwork is to start conversations for positive change. So it's entertainment, but also with a social purpose. And I think with NFTs, the exciting thing is, you've got traditional art, and then that stands. But with digital art, you can really bring storytelling in it, and if you have a positive narrative, then that can help with that kind of thing. And over time, you can do reveals, and then see maybe something starts off in a certain way and ends up differently. And maybe just one last thing about the power of blockchain and NFTs. I just think it's such a great platform and such a great medium to express artistic expression and also just to build community. I'd love to see it move into also like music and then the written word. Like poets are having a renaissance right now, and it's amazing if you guys know the verse, and they're doing great things. But literature is not really that present really yet. There's Write3 a little bit, so there's some movements and some newsletter platforms, but so I hope that answers at least in part your question.
I will say something about your question because it's a very important question. That we say that you can be the best pianist, musician, but if you play in your room, nobody will know about it, right? We have a lot of artists and they are playing in their room, and this platform allows them to reach out their emotions globally. I mean, this is like YouTube is for art, right? You just enter, publish, and then you have an entire ecosystem of millions of people and they are immediately available to share your emotions with you. And that creates a different level of connectivity. It's not only commercial or because I want to buy your money. It's because, like the case of Ian on his teddy bear. His bears are well known internationally. They are recognizable. You go to Marbella or Cannes or Paris and everybody recognizes him. So he managed to capture the emotion in one object. And what we are doing is amplifying that emotion through the platform. So I think this is a big opportunity, digital art, because so far art has been run by an elite of the world. Maybe 0.1% of the people of the world have access to art. But we are 8 billion people that can benefit from it, right? So it's an important aspect of it.
And just to keep on going, 5 seconds is that we're working with the WHO as well, and we have an artist who's been working on cleft lips and also on with Venezuelan mental diseases, etc. And we know that looking at art, and the WHO has actually acknowledged this, is that as a patient, looking at art will help you heal quicker. So, we're a part of all of that. Antoine, you had a word?
Yeah, I wanted to share a quick story about that. Actually, I mentioned my co-founder Shaban created a blockchain game, the first one ever. The first card of this blockchain game was actually the FD card, made in cooperation with Stanford University for research against sickness. And you were getting fractions of this card if you connect your computing power to the system so that the researchers can use your computing power to run the calculus for the research. So actually we use this system to connect geeks who happen to have the most powerful computers to benefit the researcher. So it's an early use case, but it was a way that we used to the blockchain technology for the whole community to benefit. But I'd say the most important things that we are looking right now is the opportunity of financiarization for all countries in the world by lowering cost using blockchain technologies. Because blockchain technologies automate tons of stuff, they make scenarios that run on banks impossible by automating and basically using technology as your medium of trust instead of an institution. And you can cut wire transfer fees, you can create new systems, peer-to-peer systems with only small phones in Africa, for instance. And I'd say it's one of the biggest things.
Thank you very much, Antoine.